Surrounded by. I am surrounded by.
I'm often surrounded by.
The entire system is surrounded by
Freaking idiots.
Surrounded by them.
Idiots.
Ladies and gentlemen, today's guest grew up in Enfield, London. First British guest I've ever had. She started off in musical theater, nailing roles in shows like Hairspray and Little Shop of Horrors. She's propelled that talent into hosting popular shows like A Place in the Sun and The One Show. Whether she's presenting property shows or taking on The Jungle in the UK reality series I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, she always brings her A game. Say hello to Scarlette Douglas.
Hello, what an intro. Oh my goodness, you've done your research.
Come
I love
on,
this.
you know, you can't just be out here just free balling and
I like
getting
that.
what's going
Thank
on.
you.
Of course. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Welcome to America. How long have you been out here now?
Okay, so I officially got my green card in March. So
Oh,
where are we
nice.
now?
Congratulations.
August. Thank you very much. I was here for April and May, went back to the UK for 2 months, and then I'm here for another 2 months.
Oh, okay. Dope.
Yeah.
Dope.
So-
Do you like it or do you miss
I
home?
love it. I don't miss home at all. It's cold. It's grey. Although they're having a bit of a heat wave at the minute.
Okay.
But I just love the States, and especially LA. I feel as though here there are no limits. You can do whatever you
Right.
want. I think in the UK we're very closed-minded. And it's like play it safe. Whereas
Really?
here you can dream big and no one questions it.
In what ways would you say?
Just everything. Like, so I used to be a professional dancer, and the question that people would always say is, first of all, what do you do? I'm a dancer. Oh, okay, but what do you really do? Like, how do you really make money?
Like
It's
that.
like, yeah,
Okay,
it's like, no, I make money from dancing and singing and acting. Like, I'm a creative
Right.
and I actually get paid to do it, as opposed to, oh, you should go and work in, I don't know, the bank or finance or do a proper job.
See, in America, that's called Middle America.
Right.
That's where
Okay.
it's like, even growing up in Chicago, it's like we definitely have an art scene, but you know, a lot of people, it's more of a business place. So people are
Exactly.
like, okay, that's nice. So
Yeah.
how long do you think you're going to do these commercials?
Like,
it's like,
for as
no,
long
that's-
as I can. This is what I do.
it's what I do. It's-
Exactly.
but yeah, everybody doesn't get that. You got to go to New York or here or
Miami, a bit. Yeah.
Miami. I feel like Miami is not as targeted though.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like you don't see a ton of just like movies or TV shows.
That's
being
true.
Like unless there's a Bad Boys or CSI Miami or something. But like
Yeah.
everything else is kind of, yeah, it's not as targeted. You know, I guess you go to Miami and it's like you can be in entertainment. You might not necessarily know what you want to do. There's no theater.
Yeah.
I wouldn't think, or things like that. But no, that's
No, I
cool.
hear you. But yeah, so here I am living it up and loving it.
That's amazing. So were your parents into the industry or?
Yeah, so my dad had the first legalized urban black radio station in the UK. So it was called WNK. There's a radio station called Choice
I love
FM.
urban, by the way.
Do you like urban?
No,
That's what we call
it's
it in the
great
UK.
because
Urban.
that's the nice way to. It's you know for the urban.
Yeah,
crowd.
exactly.
Yeah.
But for the black community.
Exactly.
So there was a radio station called Choice FM, and most people in the UK think that they were the first, but actually
Okay.
it was my dad's station. But unfortunately, it only lasted for about 5 years because he had some dodgy people working with him,
Right.
and they messed everything up. So he kind of left that industry. He ended up going into chauffeuring. He was like a private chauffeur. And he drove a lot of artists and celebrities. He drove like Obama's congregation when they came over, when he was getting inaugurated. So he's done a lot of things. I think watching him be in that creative space and love it is definitely what pushed me. And then my mum's always been more of an academic, but she's always worked hard. So I guess I've got the best of both. I know I'm going to work hard, and then I've got the creative side of my dad as well.
Damn, that's really cool.
Yeah.
That's
And
really...
then I've got 2 brothers. They both played soccer, as you call it here.
Yeah, I read up on that and I was
Yeah,
like, wow,
yeah.
that's really cool.
Really cool.
Yeah.
Really cool. So yeah, we're kind of a multi-talented family, I guess.
Your
which is
parents
quite
must
nice.
be very proud.
Yeah, they are.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So were they always when you were growing up? Were they? You know, a lot of like you said, where you come from, people aren't like, yeah, you should go do that. So like, was your mom like kind of like, yeah, you should go to school, or what was the...
Do you know what? My mum and dad, my dad especially wanted me to go into computers and IT because I was very good. But my mum has said, look, we've allowed the boys to do what they want to do, which is football, so we've got to let her do it as well. But the caveat was always, you have to get good grades in high school. And then if you've got good grades, you can go and do whatever you want. If you don't pass your grades, you're going to stay and do, what do you call it here? Undergrad, postgrad, whatever, all that stuff.
Summer
College
school?
and-
Oh, you
yeah,
have
all
to go to college. You have to go,
so if you don't do well in your high school grades, then you've got to
Gotcha.
do everything else. Yeah.
Okay.
So we always made sure we worked really hard, got good grades, and then we could do whatever we wanted. So they've always been really supportive parents. which is nice because now I can kind of treat them, so I'll fly them out with me and they're coming over in a couple of weeks.
Oh, nice.
Or I'll just send them on a holiday here or there. So yeah, that's really nice.
My parents are actually coming out very soon too.
Oh,
so
nice.
I'm excited. Yeah,
Love
it's nice
that.
to be able to, do some nice things
Yeah,
for people
for
who
sure.
did so much for you. So was it theater first? Was it?
Yes.
So theater, you got caught by that.
Right. So, in fact, was it theatre first? I played soccer as well when I was younger.
Of course you did.
Yeah.
Because your brothers play.
Right.
Yeah.
So I
got
followed
it.
them. And then and I also played field hockey. And it got to a point where my mum and dad were like, you need to kind of focus on what you want to do. Do you
Right.
want to sing and dance? Do you want to do sports? Because classes and lessons were just all clashing and it wasn't possible.
Yeah.
So because I wanted to be in a girl group, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to focus on singing and dancing and being on the
Right.
stage. And then, I ended up going to Performing Arts College for 3 years.
Oh, wow.
And the first ever show I did was a Michael Jackson musical called Thriller Live.
Okay.
And I
Nice.
was like assistant choreographer and dance captain.
Oh, wow.
I covered the lead singer and it was amazing. I did that and then I did a show called We'll Rock You, which is a Queen musical.
Wow.
And then I did musicals for 8 years from like 19 to 27. You mentioned some in the beginning, so like Hairspray, Little Shop of
Hairspray.
Horrors.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Loads of them. And in fact, the last musical I did was called I Can't Sing, which was the X Factor musical that Simon Cowell produced.
Oh, wow.
And Cynthia Erivo was the lead and I was her understudy. So that's how I kind of know Cynthia.
Right.
Well, not kind of. I know Cynthia really well and she's smashed it here. Like the Wicked movie that's coming out later on in the year. I can't wait to see her in that.
Oh, she's the lead in that.
yeah,
right?
she's Elphaba. She's going to
That's amazing.
absolutely kill it.
That's dope.
She is, to be fair, she's probably one of the hardest women I know. And I work hard, but she is relentless. Like back in the UK, she knew what she wanted and she wasn't going to stop until she got it. And she's blowing up now. So yeah, she's really smashing it.
That's do a lot of UK actors generally do a lot of theater first? Because I have to say, like, as you know, in America, like all American actors, we'd be like, damn, he's British.
I know.
Again.
Why is he coming over?
But you know, it's the problem. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But the problem is, you're all pretty fucking good.
Wicked.
Like, no, that's what, like,
Right?
that's why I saw, even if I sit there and I'm like annoyed, it's like, yeah, but he's doing a great job. So I always wondered, what is I assume you have to, this is my assumption. Tell me if I'm
Okay.
wrong. I always assumed, I'm like, okay, well, first off, they have to do a different accent off rip.
Absolutely.
So that means that they're going to practice these lines more than you ever will.
That's true. That is true.
Two, I know a lot do tend to come from theater or they do it early on. So that just makes sense. Like, I know, like, growing up, I did, like, The Lion King.
Yeah.
I played Simba, and then I did A Raisin in the Sun and, like, all that kind of stuff. So, like, I know how that tightens up chops.
Right,
You know what I mean?
right.
But, yeah, between those two things, I always figured, like, maybe that's the leg up. But
Yeah, I mean, we study in either performing arts or just straight acting. And a lot of the time when you're studying straight acting, you're learning Shakespeare, you're learning certain types of scriptures that is going to set you up well, whether you're going into theatre or you're going to go into TV.
Right.
So a lot of people will focus on TV specifically in film because obviously as an actor, your expressions don't have to be as big. Whereas in a theatre and on a stage, you've got to reach to the back of the
Huge.
auditorium. So a lot of the times we can do everything, but if your CV is predominantly theatre, you might not get that many acting roles for television and vice versa.
Got you.
So it is just about trying to keep your CV doing everything. So you might do a little theatre thing here for a short stint and then you'll get a small short film or a small TV role and then you'll get a bigger film and you kind of build that way. But a lot of actors, they have done theatre. They'll do TV, they do a film and then they'll come back and they'll do theatre again.
Yeah, and here they do that too.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing better.
I
Like,
love it. I love live theatre.
there's better things to get paid.
Yes,
but there's
that's true.
a lot of better things. But there's nothing better than, like, when you're in it for the work, you realize, like, oh, I'm way more on my game. It's,
Exactly.
It's the same, I feel like, with people who do stand-up comedy. It's like,
Yeah.
you can't
mess up.
you can't
like-
stop and be like, wait, hold on.
Yeah,
hold
let
on,
me go
wait.
back. No, it's
No,
live. So
yeah.
you got to keep going. You forget your lines, you better ad-lib until you get
Roll
back.
with it. Yeah. Or hopefully you're working with good people who can give you that
Yeah,
liquor, like
that can
feed
help
you
you.
something. Yeah. So you said we're going where tonight?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we going to the.
Yeah, there you
now
go.
remember. There,
Yeah,
there.
and acting is reacting, so technically it works.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah.
So how did you bridge the gap from, so you went from theater and then how did you get into hosting all
Yeah.
these television shows? Because, like, in America, I watch a lot of Love It or List It. And I,
Oh, do you?
Yeah,
Okay.
I enjoy that.
Okay.
And it was funny, even when I was looking up your stuff, I'm like, oh, damn, she's done, like, these kinds of shows, which is, as you know, like, we don't see a whole ton of us doing those kinds of shows. So that's amazing. How did you make that
Yeah,
jump?
thank you. So I did musicals for 8 years, and then after the X Factor musical, The show was supposed to do a year. It did 2.5 months, closed early. And I was like, I need to find a job. And we have a presenting duo in the UK called Ant and Dec.
Okay.
They've been going for years. Everyone loves them. They're like the nation's favourites. And I auditioned to be a backing dancer on, they were taking their TV show on an arena tour.
Okay.
So I ended up backing dancing for them. And just watching how amazing they were with the crowd, I was like, I want to do this. Because obviously I wanted to be in a girl group, right? So I wanted to be doing big arena tours, and I'd back and dance for a lot of big celebs. Like I did CeeLo Green, I did loads of people I'd been back and dancing for, going to these amazing arenas. But then being with these guys who were personalities as opposed to artists, I was like, well, there's another way I can be on stage and be worshipped, right? Like these ones. And everybody loved me. Yeah. So I basically spoke to them. I think it was like the night before the last night. And I was like, guys, I want to be a TV presenter. You've really inspired me. Can I interview you tomorrow? And they're like, yeah, cool. Come in, we'll come in early, do a little interview. Did maybe a 20-minute interview with them. And they were like, Scarlette, if this is what you want to do, we're going to help you because you're brilliant. And the fact that you're not even a presenter, but you've kept us engaged and you've had so much to talk about has been great. These are like the skill sets that you need. So they set me up meetings with their management, with production companies, and then won a competition with MTV to be like a presenter for a week in the UK. That helped me get a proper agent back in the UK.
Yeah, because you got that reel.
Exactly,
now I got some footage.
Right? And I beat like thousands of people to get this role. So then from that, I was kind of working with them. I did a couple of little festivals, interviewing celebrities backstage and stuff. And then a bit of the advice that the boys had given me is I should use an expertise to get into presenting fully. Because everyone wants to do entertainment presenting, right? It's like the most glamorous type of presenting.
Anyone can hand out an award, but if you actually have a
proper USB, proper talent or skill set. So I do property development in the UK with my eldest brother that I present with. And I started at the age of 24 with him, but it was just a side hustle because I was always doing my musicals. So when I spoke to the agent that I got, and I was like, look, Ant and Dec have given me this advice. Can I use that as a way into presenting? And she was like, actually, there's there's a show called A Place in the Sun who are looking for a new presenter that has to have a property background. And we had no idea that you did property. So let's put you forward. And honest to God, so A Place in the Sun is like, you have House Hunters International here, right?
Okay, yeah.
It's the same show, basically.
Got you.
It's couples that want to buy a holiday home abroad and we go and show them around properties and they buy or don't buy. I did a screen test for that. My first ever screen test with Channel 4, which is like the biggest channel in the UK for property. It is the biggest show on their channel for daytime. And then after doing the screen test, I think 10 days later, I found out I got the job and I was like, oh my God.
That's amazing.
It had been about 18 months from finishing the musical to then getting this job. I finished the tour with the boys, I think in the October, and by the March, I found out that I got A Place in the Sun, and then that was
amazing.
It just kind of kept going, and I was like, I'm not going to stop now. I'm going to use this as a springboard and see what other opportunities I can get.
Momentum. You can't, because you know how it goes. When it slows down, but when it speeds up, you got to take advantage.
You got to be ready.
So
I just kept going, and now I've got however many property shows, and I've got my green card, and I'm here. And I've got meetings with companies here, and I've got an agent here now. So I'm excited about what's to come.
Yeah. You're the kind of person we should give green cards to.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's like she owns properties in other places.
Let me in. Because I know Trump doesn't want anybody here because of immigration. But I'm a good. Everyone's good.
He might make an exception for you.
Thank you. Please do. In fact, let's just hope we don't even get in power. Come along.
That's hilarious. Oh man. So, let's talk about the property thing. So you started getting into that with your brother, and like what kind of places were you guys getting? Were you basically gutting them and
so we were getting rundown places,
right?
Or places that were just too big to be a 1-bedroom apartment, for example. And if we rejigged it could be a 2-bedroom apartment, so we knew we'd make money off the back of that.
Got you.
And then places that people really didn't want to buy, that you walk in and you'd want to walk straight back out of. But because my brother had been doing it from when he played football, he had the eye for how you can make things gorgeous and beautiful and stunning.
Has a team probably. He knows he can get in there.
Exactly. And then I used, I love fashion, and obviously being on the stage and being around theatre sets, I love the creative side of property developments, doing the interior design. So I've got an interior design diploma. I will do the colour scheme, and I'll work out the sort of materials that we want to go on.
You have an interior design diploma?
Yeah.
Wait, time out. So let's start. How many diplomas do you have? Let's go.
I've got technically 3. So I've got my performing arts diploma when I went to college. I have my interior design diploma.
Okay.
And then I also have a diploma in British Sign Language. So I'm technically an interpreter, but I haven't signed much for the last few years.
Well, you're better than that. You saw that one video of the lady who was just standing next to just...
Honestly, I'm watching. I'm like, what's happening? Like, yeah.
Yeah. You're over here like, those are
That's not signs.
that's not signs.
And there are lots of different signs. That is not any of them.
That's crazy.
Honestly, so
that's dope though. Most of the time when I hear people who have a lot of degrees, I'm like, oh, that's dope. So what do you have? Well, I have a poli-sci degree. Yeah, but you don't do that. I know. And then I have at least you're using literally other than, I guess, the sign language, but that can come in handy anywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's like knowing a language. Do
accessible.
you speak multiple languages?
I used to speak a bit of German and Swiss German because I lived in Switzerland for a bit and I did a musical.
Oh, okay.
Patois, because my parents are Jamaican.
Okay.
But don't make me do it because it's not the best.
Wagwan.
Yeah. Wagwan, my youth.
Me and you. or what y'all say? What y'all say out there?
What?
Yeah, that's proper cool, isn't it?
We say that in England. That
In
is
it?
the short.
Yeah, no, that's
in
that.
it.
Yeah,
Always.
In it?
In it.
In it? That's hilarious.
But otherwise, no, I don't really speak. I wish I spoke other languages. I kind of learned a little bit of Spanish because I used to film there a lot.
Oh, in Mexico or Spain?
In Spain.
Okay.
Yeah. So I know how to order a rosé wine, you know, the most important thing.
So, yeah.
Una rosada, por favor. That's it. Yeah.
I don't know. Is it? Yeah, gracias.
Yeah, there you go.
Gracias. My parents want me to learn Spanish so bad.
You should do it.
I need to.
Especially being here as well.
Yeah, and especially my name is Maestro. So like a lot of times, like when I'm around Hispanic people, they'll be like, you know what your name means, right? Maestro, or like something like that. I'm like, yeah, I know. I should be able to speak the language, and it would probably be great for roles.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely would be.
Probably, but you know, I should do a lot.
It's one of those things like I have a keyboard, a violin, and a saxophone in my loft at home because in my head I was going to learn all of them. Probably should, but
now they're beautiful decorations.
Exactly,
around
they're
the
just
home.
catching dust somewhere.
Listen, if you want to talk about instruments catching dust, like since I've started this podcast, like you saw the living room, it's all synthesizers. It's all like, well, they're covered now. I got to show you, but it's all synthesizers, all this kind of stuff. Like I have like drum machines everywhere. Like I really like gear, but it's I know what you mean. It's like
so. Do you produce music?
Yeah. I produce.
Maestro, you should.
Yeah, I should, right?
Yeah.
Do a lot of stuff for like commercials, TV shows, all that kind of
cool.
stuff. Obviously made my own music as well.
Yeah.
And I was signed when I was like super young and all that kind of stuff. So like, yeah.
I love how you just dropped that in. And I was signed. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I've been doing it for
You've
a
been
while.
doing a lot.
You want to see my first CD? There you go. This was my first CD.
Oh,
it was
look
called
how
Be a
cute
Dreamer.
you
This is how long I've
are.
been doing stuff. Yeah.
Be a dreamer.
Yeah.
Can we just take a moment for this and slow zoom into the cute little face here? Oh,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
So yeah, my story is like my parents got me in the game like very young.
So were they in entertainment as well?
No.
Oh,
not
okay.
at all. My dad's a HVAC, electrical mechanical engineer, plumber, all that kind of stuff. My mom is a registered nurse.
Wow.
But my dad was just like, hey, once he knew they were having me, he was like, he's going to be in entertainment.
Gonna be a star.
Yeah, because I guess I always make the joke. I guess he figured like neither one of them are tall, so it was like he's not gonna hoop. That's not gonna happen.
That's for sure.
Probably not football. So and either football.
Right.
So now it kind of turned into it was music. So my dad was signing me up for piano lessons before I was even out of my mom's stomach. He was like adamant, and you know this is like the '90s, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you had to actually play instruments and stuff, and even like. You know, it's like coming up in the game, like in that era, it was like everybody could, if you were good, could sing, dance, and act. You had to be a triple threat.
Absolutely.
There wasn't any social media to like fall back on.
Exactly,
So,
or auto tune.
yeah, no chance. So like I was going to piano lessons at the age of 3 years old, 3 years old. Vocal lessons by the time I was 6, 7 type deal.
God.
Like, yeah, so it was just like a consistent.
And did you love it?
I always enjoyed making the music and doing this stuff. When you're young and you don't. I was always working a lot and I was working hard, but I enjoyed what I was doing. But at the same time, I would be like, sometimes.
Yeah.
But looking back, oh man,
Amazing.
Thank God I did that. Like, yeah, it's taught me even in my life now. Like sometimes, like okay, put off, the what's the word I'm looking for? Put off the pleasantries. Put off the things that you're gonna be excited about. Put that all off for now. Work hard.
Yeah,
and then you
can enjoy it all when you're older.
You can enjoy better things.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean? Like the shit you want to enjoy. There's things I thought I was missing out on. I wouldn't even want to do now.
Exactly.
And that's what made me realize, like, oh, okay, so like there's something to this work thing, and the things and I'm sure you've seen even more, but like the things we've been able to see because of our careers. It's like, oh, like,
my goodness, and the access that we get.
Thank you. It's like this shit is way above a lot of pay grades. It's like, oh yeah, like if I had to pay for all, no. But I'm paying for it because I'm talented, and this is why I'm here, and this is my job. You know,
exactly.
So, yeah, it builds that work ethic, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where do you think your work ethic comes from? Like the drive to just want to keep.
I think two things. Definitely seeing how hard my mum and dad have worked, but also all the people that said I was never going to make it. That is like the best. Yeah. Because success is the best revenge, right? And I remember my dance school teacher and my college teacher were like, no, you're never going to make it. Meh. And I'm like, out of the whole college especially, in fact, the dance school and the college, I'm like the second most famous that's come out of college. The first was Victoria Beckham. That was Posh Spice in Spice Girls.
Come on.
I'll let you have it, Vicky.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's fine.
And also, if no one remembers that, David.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? The ladies, come on. Like,
she married David, so she's doing good, you know?
You said Victoria Beckham. You didn't say Victoria.
What was her name? Was it Adams? Adams. I think it was Victoria Adams. Yeah.
Victoria Adams.
But she was very clever because it's spelled Adams, but she put a double A on it so that whenever she's at register, she'd always be picked first, or her name would get ticked off first, and then she can go and do whatever she wanted.
That's so smart.
I like that.
That's like the AAA trick.
What's the AAA trick?
That's why their name's AAA.
Oh.
So they would come up first in the phone book.
There we go. Makes sense.
Yeah, that was the way people did things. Yeah,
totally makes sense. So I've been one of the most successful, and I think it's because I was told I couldn't do it, and for me, it's like I'm going to show you that I can,
right? And
you're going to watch me. And now, absolutely, they're sitting watching me in their TV rooms or in their rooms at home on the television, smashing it, doing all the things they said I couldn't do, and living my best life. I'm doing it. So yeah.
It's so weird too when you hear the story of like teachers saying shit like that.
I know, because you're just supposed to be supportive and encouraging,
right? And it's like, come on, like you have a job. Your job is to get me, or to the best of your ability, get me as far as the best of my ability will take me. It's that simple. Not everybody's gonna be good because everybody can pay to be here, technically.
Yes,
but you know, you can give each person as much. Like you can't tell somebody like, nah, I don't think that's gonna. What?
I know. It was actually really disheartening. And I think I've had it even in my career as a presenter as well, like with the first job, A Place in the Sun that I did. The production company just weren't nice. And it's just like, I don't want to work with people that I don't have to work with, especially as I've got all these other opportunities now. And I see how you treat me differently to other presenters. We know why.
Yeah.
So let me go somewhere else where I'm wanted. And actually, since leaving that show, which is pretty much the story of my life, like leaving relationships has propelled me even further. Leaving certain roles in work it's then propelled me further. Yeah. So I feel like I need to always shake off the deadwood and get rid of the leeches, as my brothers would say, or the what do they call them? The parasites.
Yeah. Well, you got to stay in motion, because I know what you mean. Like a lot of times making that jump, or even not being comfortable, it makes you like, I know for me at least, like that same drive that you have, like when you're in an uncomfortable situation, you start figuring out things. Like you start looking around and be like, all right, so wait, how could I maneuver this? And then like if the phone's not, I always say, if the phone's not ringing, I'm not going to sit here and wait for it to ring.
Thank you.
No.
Thank you.
I'm at least going to be somewhere making sure 30 other motherfuckers got my number.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So that at some point the phone's going to ring.
At some point. And when it does ring, I'll be doing something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And,
exactly.
And oh shit, somebody called.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like you have to stay in that flow, because if
and
not.
And you've got to stay ready as well.
Yeah.
Even like when I was last here, I had a few meetings with agents and everyone's like, you're amazing, Scarlette, we love you. And no one ever called me back. And I remember getting
Hollywood.
Right? And I remember getting really disheartened by it. And my agent in the UK was like, this is going to happen. It's fine. Like, we'll keep going. And it was really gutting. But hang on, what was the point I was even trying to make? Hang on. This happens to me a lot. Sorry, guys. I'll start. And then I'm like, where was I going with this? But yeah, I'd have meetings with these agents and then nothing was really happening. I'd get really down about it. And that was it. I remember going to Soho House and just going to the gym. I was like, right, the one thing I can work on is making sure I'm fit and healthy so that when the phone
100%.
rings, I'm looking like ba-bam, when I'm on screen. So let me focus on the things I can do. So I went to the gym and I'm on the treadmill and literally I got a message from my agent saying, right, they need you to cover there's a show we have in the UK called Lorraine. It's like a chat show, a daytime chat show. And there's a guy here called Ross King who always delivers the entertainment news. But he was off for whatever reason. He had to take a night off. And then they called my agent to call me, can you go and cover the entertainment slot? Literally, you're going tonight. You're on live at 1:30 in the morning, which is the right time back in the UK. And I was like, look at that. I just took the worry out of my mind because I can't do anything with the situation with the agents. I've done everything I can do. I've left it in the room. So let me leave that behind and let me focus on the things I can do, which was make sure I'm working out.
Better yourself.
Absolutely.
That's and by the way, hilarious. I go to Soho House Gym every morning.
Yes, you go early. I see you tag like 6 a.m.
6 a.m. But it was this exact same thought though.
Right.
Like I started working out about right after the pandemic.
Yeah.
Because my almost like my cousin, he was working at this gym, Just Train, where like it's Kevin Hart's trainer bosses.
Oh, okay, cool.
So he was working over there, and I started getting in the flow of just working out every morning. Right. And it was just because I was like, you know what, 2020, shit slow. Yeah. There's nothing going on. What can I be doing? And that was my thought. I was like, well, I can be working out. I know I feel better when it's 9 o'clock and I'm walking back in this house and I'm like, oh, I've already like worked out. I've already hit the sauna, I'm good to go. Yeah. Like now I have a whole day
to do whatever you want with.
All this other stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it makes everything else that I do throughout that day seem easier.
Right. Okay.
Because it's same with, I started doing hot yoga. That shit's crazy.
That is hard. How do you do that?
It's tough.
I hate hot yoga.
You hate it?
I hate it.
But you don't feel incredible when you're done?
Yeah, I feel like I want to pass out or I want to punch the teacher. That's how I feel. I feel just like, oh,
well, it's so... I never did yoga I did yoga once.
Right.
And then I was like, you know what? I got to do the hot yoga. Because I like saunas. I like steam rooms. Okay. I like the detoxification. And it's good for joints, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
So I like doing that. But yeah, it's such a challenge. I thought it was going to be you see all the girls coming out there. You're like, right. No, I know it's tough for y'all.
Yeah, but I'm good.
You get in there, you're like, oh yeah, no. I'd be the one walking out the room real quick for a second, and everybody's like, it's tough.
I remember the first time I did it, I had to sit out on the side. I was like, I can't do this. And I seen like all the older women that are just living their best lives doing it. And I'm like, what?
That's the best motivation. When you see somebody who's like either much older than you or just nowhere near as in good shape as you, and you see them doing,
I like yeah.
That was a good way to do that, right?
Yeah.
I've been media trained. Media trained. But literally, when you see that, and you're like, oh, like so you're doing this, and this is nothing for you,
right?
And I'm hurting.
Mm-hmm. It's like spin class. Do you like spin class?
I don't have the best knees.
Oh, okay.
I'm working on it though.
Okay,
I'm working on it. I'm trying to build, but like, it's too much bike would make me. Yeah,
it's the same for me. I do it, but I hate it.
Your legs be cooked.
And it's the butt as well. You get up, you're like, oh.
But that's what it's supposed to do.
Exactly,
Exactly.
That is true.
Yeah, that's funny. So, when did you? What did I want to ask? When did you? How did the reality show happen? That's what it was.
Oh yeah, so that was
that's really cool just to do a reality
and
show.
it's like absolutely, and it is one of the biggest celebrity reality shows in the UK as well.
No, I saw, and they do it in Australia.
Yeah,
I was like,
and it's
damn,
serious. Like you were in the jungle with all the weird and wonderful creatures.
It's like Naked and Afraid.
Is that a show? I don't know. Is that a show here?
You've never seen that?
No, I've never heard that.
Oh, it's one of my favorite shows. So it's on Discovery. It's called Naked and Afraid.
Okay.
And,
are people
there
naked?
You go. Yes. So they get two random people. You would be like, hey, I'm Scarlette. I'm going out here. They give you like a rating of how good you are at being like doing outdoor stuff, catching fish, blah, blah. Then it's like, hey, I'm Steve. I'm blah, blah, blah. And then
you got to live.
Drop trowel. And then you go out but it'd be tough because you got to think they be in like the jungles and the wilderness, and like sometimes insects be getting and women's and guys be getting bit. It's no joke.
It's on Discovery.
Okay. They have another show kind of like that, which is on History.
Yeah.
Which I think is the same company, but it's called Alone. And Alone is the same kind of. You're actually clothed though,
right?
But you're alone. So. And Alone is like people who really do this shit. So they be out there for like 70 days, 75. No, it's OD. Naked and Afraid is 21.
Right.
So it's like you get 21 days. You hike to the vantage point. We come pick you up if you don't, die or pass out or whatever. Yeah. Alone, it's like 6 different people out here, but they're all alone, and you don't know when the other person's gonna give up, and that's tough. So
that just makes you keep going and keep going.
You just gotta keep. So I wake up if I'm depressed and I'm like, this is fucking awful. I want to go home, but it's like $500,000 or something. Yeah, exactly. So and for all I know, you'll quit in the next 10 minutes.
Right. So there's no way I can quit. Wow. Okay,
Crazy.
I'm gonna check those out.
Yeah, you gotta check
those out. A bit like
out.
Survivor as well, kind of.
Yeah, just a little. They're a little more. They're cable.
Okay.
So a little less networky.
Right. Got you. Okay. Fine.
So tell me about yours.
So my one, I was doing another show which was all about people buying derelict properties in Spain and France and then renovating them to be their dream homes.
Okay.
And I got a message from my agent saying, right, on Friday you've got a Zoom call, and I was like, what is it about? He said, I'm not going to tell you until the day before, but it's a big call. And I'm like, right, okay, fine. So then on the Thursday, he adds it in. We've got a joint calendar. He adds it into the calendar, and it basically says Zoom call with like the talent team from I'm a Celebrity to get me out of here. So I called him straight away. I'm like, what? He's like, I know. You had a general meeting with them a few months ago. They've not stopped thinking about you since then. They need to fill a space and they want you for it.
That's
and I was like, that's crazy. He said, but there are 8 people in the running. So I was like, oh, okay, then whatever. I'm probably not going to get it. But I think he was saying it to just keep me calm. Because again, in the space of, I think 2 weeks, I found out it was me. And then about 10 days later, I was off to Australia. Had to pack all my suitcase, rejig all the other commitments that I had in my diary. Flew to Australia, spent the first week in isolation in a house, like no phone, no contact with the outside world. And then that's it. You're in the jungle. I think I was in the jungle for like 2 weeks.
Why do they do that? Why do they?
I think they just get you in the zone, because once you're in the jungle, other than your campmates, you don't have any contact with anybody. Right. So you've got to give your phone away. I couldn't call my mum and my dad. I speak to them all the time. Yeah. They did give us like Netflix on the TV, so I was binging like Selling Sunset and all that sort of stuff. Okay, yeah. So that was fine. And then they like bring you food if you want food. I was like, actually, this is great for the first week, and then you go in the jungle and it's the complete opposite. Yeah. It is carnage, but it was one of the best experiences ever. I made some great friends. Really. And it opened so many other doors.
I believe
for it. Other opportunities and other shows. And
what was the toughest thing you got hit with out there?
Ooh. Do you know, people ask me this, and I think, luckily, my challenges weren't that bad. Because sometimes you've got to do things like drink blended tarantula or eat like pig's anus or something. Right. And just gross challenges to win stars, or go underground or underwater for a certain amount of time to get these stars to win points to get food. So the worst thing I had to do, which I'm not scared of snakes or rats, I had to put my head in a box, and there were like 10 rats around me for 8 minutes. And I had to just deal, and I had to like do a little puzzle thing in front of me. But that was fine, because I don't mind rats.
Fear factor.
Yeah, right? So that for me was okay. Oh, if it was tarantulas, I would have died. I would have lost my shit, and I would have been like, get me out of here.
So what scares you more about a tarantula than a rat?
Oh, it's just like they're furry, and well, rats are furry. It's the way they crawl. And like they're so big over there. They're like this big, and you can see their eyes, and you can see them blink.
Australia, right?
Yeah, so everything's on heat. Like it's just crazy over there.
Oh, that's
crazy.
So
that was mental. But I think for me, I'm a very bubbly, happy-go-lucky person, and I like to keep people's spirits up. And when you're in there, if you're not really eating and you're not used to being isolated from your friends and families and home comforts and stuff, like I was in there with Boy George. Boy George can have whatever he wants whenever he wants, right?
Right.
So when you don't,
George, so
when you don't have any of that stuff, people really start to get quite down and depressed. So the hardest thing for me, and it's not that it's my responsibility, but I always take this role on anyway in life, was to try and keep everybody's spirits up. I'm like, come on guys, it's fine, let's do this, let's have fun, let's all keep smiling. Remember, it's a game, it's cool. And when people are like, fuck off, or I don't want to do this, you're like, okay, let me actually just take a step back. Right. I'm trying to make you happy. You clearly don't want to be happy. Right. So let me just remove myself in case I'm that annoying person that's just too hyper all the time.
But you're trying to problem solve.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to do, you know. Yeah. And sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. Yeah. But that's probably the hardest part for me is trying to keep spirits up and it not always being the case.
I was talking to my friend about, by the way, that's still recording, right?
Yes.
Okay. I just always have to make sure because obviously I can't see it. I always tell my friends it's weird because sometimes, like, some people are sensitive to energies. Yes. Like, and as LA as that fucking sounds, it's true though. Like, because I see it. Like, I can walk into a room and I can just feel when things are not, or if somebody's just not in a good space. Yes. And you know, it sucks when you have people around though who just like constantly exude that. I mean, then you shouldn't have them around all the time. But it sucks when you have people in your life that kind of exude that because it's tough. It weighs on you.
Yeah, it does.
Because you want to do something, but there's nothing you can do.
And that is an exact situation I'm in at the moment. Like where I'm staying, my friend is just in a bad place. And I'm doing my best to try and help. And, you know, it's part because of the industry, obviously, the strikes and everything. He works in the industry. It's been difficult. And it's like, I'm trying my best to help you, but actually I'm probably just making it worse. So I'm like, I've just got an Airbnb. I'm out so that I can have my own space. He can have his own space back. I appreciate that he let me stay there, but I can't do anything. I can't penetrate the dark cloud that's currently over this apartment. And like, I'm here, you know, if he wants to holler, he can holler and I'll help him through it. But you have to, and especially me, I have to think about number one. I'm always thinking about everybody else, and it's too much. It's too taxing and it's too draining when you're always trying to lift people up, but they just don't want it.
Yeah, and then that's also sometimes energy that you could be putting into yourself to
exactly.
Because I mean, let's be real. This industry, we're all gonna need some lifting at some point.
Exactly.
And if I'm exuding it all over here, it might not necessarily. Yeah, I know what you mean. Or at least if it's what's the word? It at least has to be
reciprocated.
Reciprocated or construct. Like it has to be constructive. Like my thing is, you can be down. But then we have to sit here and we have to problem solve. Okay, how can we fix this? And then if you're constructive about that and I'm constructive about it, then we'll go.
Then great.
Bet. Okay, so this is what we'll do. So so tomorrow we're gonna do X, Y, and Z. We're gonna work on this. We're gonna shoot this, and we're gonna see what happens.
Yeah. That I can deal with.
Yes.
But it's then when it's the other way around and there's all the negativity and all the excuses and all the reasons why it won't work.
And you're saying that, but nah, you don't get it.
Yeah, literally. The Maestro's been that. No, but you're not in the situation. You don't understand. I'm like, okay, but I'm trying to help you out. So rather than block everything I'm trying to suggest, how about we try and consider things here and there, you know? But again, everybody's different, and maybe me being so jovial all the time and positive is an annoyance. So that's why I'm like, let me just remove myself from the situation.
It doesn't come across fake though. Like, and I mean that genuinely, because some people are jovial, but it's you know what I mean. They're not the best actors.
Jovial.
They're
not winning an Oscar anytime soon.
Yeah, and it's just like there's nothing behind those eyes, man.
Right.
But yeah, it doesn't come off that way. So it's like, I don't think your jovial would be that annoying. Well, like, whereas there's some people you're like, oh no. Like everything's always good.
Okay, yeah,
it's
that's
like, stop.
crazy.
That's not real. It's not real. You know, we can look at the positives, but like also, you know, problem solving is looking at the positives and the negatives and figuring out the best path.
Exactly.
So yeah, but some people in LA are just a little too. They're scary happy. But that's when I know, like, you can't be really, like...
When the face doesn't really move.
Yeah, it's not a real smile. It's like...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like...
That's good, thanks.
Yeah, no thank you. So what was your plan coming out here? Like, what are the things... Is it really just you want to grow outside of...
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like I've kind of conquered the UK to a certain degree, and I've always dreamed big, and I've always loved America, and I've just... always thought I'd love to conquer here as well. So I have my US agent now who has set me up some meetings with some great production companies. I've got one with Netflix in a few weeks. And I guess it's just discussing ideas that I have, where I could fit in well on shows. Even shows like Selling Sunset and Selling the OC, as much as the girls on there are quite bitchy, I know it's very produced.
Right, of course.
I'm not a bitchy character, but I feel like I could do well in these sort of shows because I love looking around gorgeous houses. I love not the costumes, but the outfits that they wear. I love the glamour of all of it.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'd bring a different element to a show like that. So that would be great.
More diversity.
Yeah, that too.
They definitely do.
But even shows like, I don't know, Flip or Flop, you know, where you're doing things like that. And I love the Property Brothers over here and all the shows that they do. And Celebrity IOU and all this sort of stuff. So I feel as though if I could do a property show here as well, ultimately, my ultimate goal is to have my own chat show. I think that's any TV host, that's their ultimate goal. And James Corden came over from the UK, he had the Late Late Show, he smashed it, and I'm like, you are my inspiration, because if you can do it, I know I can do it.
Okay.
I don't know how long it's going to take me to, but I'm going to get there. So that's my ultimate goal. And I guess it's just working out the best route to do that, or route, as you say, the best route to do that.
I always say en route.
Do you?
I do. But I think I sound cool saying it. And that's why we do say route.
Yeah, route. I need to work out the best route, because I could go the full property way, which then might take me away from the chat show side. or I can find entertainment. But again, I know that so many people want to do entertainment and it's a saturated market.
Right.
So how am I going to stand out? So that's why my agent, you know, she's got to work out what's best for me and see what sticks, see what can come about from each thing.
Well, I think that's honestly that's the smartest way to do it, especially in today's TV and film market. It's that you find your angle and then you hit your angle,
Right.
opposed to I'm just gonna go on a bunch of auditions for stuff that I
See
could
what
be,
happens.
because it's they're not making as much stuff. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They're not. The industry's just not where it was 10 years ago, 20 years ago. You know, but you do have the same way you did out over there. You have such a dope angle.
My little niche of property, yeah.
And I feel like that's in today's times, you need a niche to build real fans, and then everybody else realizes you have real fans, and then they jock you, and then they put you on other stuff.
There you go. Exactly. Which is exactly what happened in the UK.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
so I'm like, okay, if I follow that same blueprint here, then hopefully that will work.
Yeah, no, I definitely think it will. Because, even when I see those shows, I'm like, you don't see a lot of people that look like us.
No, not at all. And especially in the UK. Like you were saying, with Love It or List It, we
Yeah.
did that show back in the UK. There was a special one-off Black to Front Day, they called it, on Channel 4. It was just everyone was doing...
Black to front.
That's what they called it.
I love
And
it.
for that whole day, it was just black people in front of camera and behind camera making these shows. And it was amazing to see. It was
Yeah.
so good.
How are what is the race relations like in the UK?
So it's a small pocket of people that are racist, white
Okay.
supremacists. There's a small pocket of them. There has recently been some riots in the UK. I'm not sure if you've seen it. And it's been awful.
I've
And
seen it,
white people are going around beating up black and brown people.
Because the Muslims and
Yes,
all
because
that.
one Muslim boy who was 17, who's from Rwanda, black boy, who's born in the UK, he stabbed and killed 3 little kids, which is horrendous. It's awful.
Right.
But then off the back of that, all
It's
the white-
everybody who looks like him now.
Right.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
all the white thugs that are, you know, patriotic and we want our England back and our UK back, just went out and started setting alight to hotels that are housing immigrants,
Wow.
racing towards mosques and charging mosques, making like fire bombs on police cars, and it was just awful.
Right.
It was awful. And then it leaked that there were going to be quite a few riots around the UK.
Mm-hmm.
And then all the anti-racists were like, there is not on our watch. There's no way. And thousands of people came out to support the Muslims and the mosques and black and brown people. And it's like, this is not a true indication of what the UK is. It's just
Mm-hmm.
a small handful of people that get the airtime, that think that they're great and they're thugs.
Right.
But we're not going to sit back and take it. Because, you know, a lot of us, we were born in the UK.
Yeah.
And we were brought over... we
Well,
were part of the Commonwealth. We were brought over in Windrush.
Yeah.
To
We've
come
all
and
been
help.
brought over from
Well,
somewhere.
exactly. But a lot of Caribbeans and Africans were brought over in the
Mm.
Windrush to help rebuild the NHS, to help rebuild the army. So that was years ago. That's like
Right.
70 odd years ago. So we have a lot of people that are homegrown in the UK. And unfortunately, there are people out there that don't like it.
It's the same thing here.
Yeah.
You know, you have people who've been here for hundreds of years, and it's like, yeah, but you know,
Right?
you're an African American. You're not an American.
It's like, wow.
It's like, really?
I know.
Really?
It's so bad.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
Yeah, I did see a thing you guys were doing over there now or I'm not going to say you guys. They're doing something in the government over there where they're trying to, was it jail people for like tweets and social media posts or something?
So, yeah, like our government, I feel like they don't really know what they should do and stick with.
Okay.
So there are a lot of, you can get, what's the word? You can go to court and you can get whatever the term is, it will come back to me, for racist tweets, homophobic tweets.
Oh, like a police report type deal.
Sort of thing. So you will get a case against you going to those if you do anything like that. So that's fine. But then they're getting to the point where like, yeah, we're going to start putting people in prison. And it's like, I get it, but our prisons are already full and overflowing and we need the prisons for the thugs. So give someone a criminal record. There we go. Give someone a
Yeah.
criminal record for what they're doing in terms of tweet and stuff. Absolutely.
So
They
it's like a
deserve it.
misdemeanor type deal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Give them a fine, maybe give them, I don't know, they've got to do like public hours, whatever.
Right.
But I think depending on how severe it is, we need the spaces in the prisons for people that are really doing real shit.
Murders and such.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that what people are writing and stuff isn't horrible. It
No,
really
right,
is.
right.
But in the same sense, that's not going to potentially kill someone.
No,
you
yeah.
know?
I mean, of course, you know, over here in America, it was like, that's freedom of speech.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that's where it gets like, it sounds great. You're like, wait, so you could tweet something. It's just like, because where's the line?
Exactly.
Who has to go, I don't like that in the government for you to just be cooked? And it's like, I don't.
Exactly.
That's a scary. Canada's doing something like that too.
Are they?
Like, well, with Trudeau, he's very same kind of idea.
Yeah.
Same kind of idea. It's just where it's more a lot of government control.
Right. Okay. Okay.
And it just gets.
And it does need to be monitored a lot more. It really does, because a lot of people can open accounts without
Well,
having to really say who
that's
you
what
are.
it is. That's all X is.
Yeah.
X is a whole bunch. The people who tweet the most of them are not tweeting from their names.
Of course not.
And apparently when Elon bought it, they said that it was something like somebody came in and said at least 60 or 70% of the accounts were just bots. Because you have to remember, like you have all countries who have their version of the CIA or what's that called over there?
FBI. No, not FBI's here. Sorry. What is it that we have in the UK? MI5.
MI5. Yeah, there we go.
James Bond. And
yeah,
MI5,
James Bond.
that's it.
So yeah, you have MI5. We got CIA, NSA. We got it. We have 22. I only know the name of 3.
Oh,
That's
wow!
just
I didn't know you had that many.
Yeah,
Okay.
I didn't either. And so yeah, it's kind of a scary situation where you're like, okay, so what? It's a lot of places or like people that you don't see on the front lines who are making a lot of these decisions.
And it's scary.
Yeah, and that's kind of like,
I know.
I don't know.
I know. But I feel like governments at the moment are just, ours is maybe a bit better, the government that's just been elected. But I don't know what's happening here. I don't know. Who do you think is going to get in power?
I think Kamala will win. I do.
Right?
I think she'll. It's a weird thing though, because I feel like with our system right now, I just don't think any. I just look at it and go, why are these the options?
Yeah,
that's what I mean.
Right?
Like it's not so much. It's like no, Trump's not very good. He's funny, not very good.
Funny looking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen.
Oh God.
Yeah, and then Kamala, like I get that too, but then I also like. Looking at that subjectively, it's also like, yeah, but I mean, I know what you're pandering to me too. Like, I get what you're selling. I don't know if she actually stands on anything. I don't know if I agree with all the things Trump stands on. Actually, most of it I don't.
Right.
But I also don't think I know anything she really stands on.
Okay, interesting.
And then my question just becomes, why are these the two options?
Yeah.
Like, and then you were going to try to sell me Biden before, which was like, yeah, exactly. Come on. Like,
even I was back in the UK watching these debates and everything, and I'm like, what's happening?
It's like, you can't have this guy up here like this.
What is happening? You might as well get 2 kindergarten kids to go up and do something. They probably make more sense. Right?
Listen, this is the one guy's talking in circles because that's what he does. He's consistently doing that, talking in circles. Fine. I know what to expect from you. Other guy is trying to form sentences. And then I was like, this isn't good.
Right.
Then it's like, okay, you bring him up. Oh, way more cognitive, knows a lot more about the law. Like all those things, like fair. But then it's like, yeah, but what do you really stand on? And it's kind of like, I mean, and then you had RFK. He could have been okay, but the voice and it's just it's true. It makes it tough. Like it's harder to get your message across. And then on top of that, they didn't let him debate. They didn't let him. It's all those little things. Like it's a popularity contest. That's one thing.
That's exactly what it is. It's all about profile.
Especially now that social media has happened. Yeah. It's the new best reality show on the air.
Right.
And that's that.
Thousands and millions of eyes on it.
And this is the only time you see places like, mainstream news in America actually getting ratings again. Because that's a thing. You got to, like, out here, I don't know how it is over there, but, like, out here, people aren't, like, CNN's not getting that many views.
Oh, really?
No. CNN's doing, like, 600,000 a show. They're not making any money. Like, no, like, literally, CNN, MSNBC, the one that gets the most is, like, Fox. Right. And they're getting, like, 2.1. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? It's not very good for places that have multiple build. I heard CNN just shut down. Was it their Atlanta office or something? Like, it's like it's
bad.
Yeah, because people aren't. Who's watching TV?
Yeah,
everybody's streaming.
Exactly.
Everybody's blah blah. Everybody,
catching up as and when they want to.
When they want to.
Yeah.
And it's not the same. You can't. You remember how it used to be when you had the what was it used to be called? Ours is probably called something different. But the rating system. The Nielsen ratings.
Oh no, I don't know what ours is called.
But we had like the Nielsen ratings, so it was like when I was younger, I had a TV show on UPN. It was like came on. You remember Moesha?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so it was on the same network as Moesha, Malcolm and Eddie, all those shows.
Yep. Okay.
And yeah, we get like the Nielsen ratings, and then of course, you know, Black show, they had me come on Monday nights with football. But still though, I think I was pulling in like 2.1 or 2. Yeah, not bad. A couple million people would stop and watch the show. You know, you get the good show, like the Dick Wolf shows. Those are gonna get like 8 million, 7 million, whatever. But like, yeah, nowadays, I'll stream it. I'll binge it all at once.
Literally, there you go.
Yeah.
Or you'll find out the information from your favorite influencer.
And there you go.
Yeah.
And that's why the news doesn't. I can check X, and then the issue with that though too is the news has started to play. I've noticed in America they've started to play the same game that they've become the influencers, and that's not good.
Okay.
Like in a sense of, so for example, you know that you guys can't do it. Like advertising medications,
right?
Yeah, like you guys don't do that over there.
No,
do
we
you?
don't.
Yeah,
No,
exactly. Yeah, there's only 2 places that do that. Us and New Zealand.
Oh.
What the fuck do we have in common with New Zealand?
Yeah.
Why? How dare we do something New Zealand does? And their commercials aren't like, our commercials are like somebody running through a field while it's telling you could cause pancreatic cancer, anal bleeding, blah, 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 heart attacks. And the person's smiling, doing ring around the rosy, cooking, yeah. Over there, it's more like, this is for this. And then they list like the side effects, and these are some facts. And that's the commercial.
Right.
So it's very misleading. You know what I mean? Like,
I do notice that with the commercials here.
And that's why our news doesn't say certain things, because based on who's your sponsor.
Yeah. But to a certain degree in the UK, it's very much how the media portray things in articles as well, in newspaper, journalism.
Right.
So even with Harry and Meghan,
right.
the way they treated Meghan to how they treated Kate was like
I'm sure very different.
Oh
Yeah,
my goodness. And they could be wearing the exact same dress, but for whatever reason, Meghan looked like a slag and Kate looked incredible.
Right.
And it's the way they word things. Even with these riots in the UK, they've been saying that there have been protests. It's like, no. These white thugs are rioting. They are breaking into shops. They are looting. They're setting things alight. But you don't want to phrase it that way.
That's how we have the inverse here. So a lot of times it'll be, depending on who you ask, it'll be the George Floyd protest versus the George Floyd riots. And it's something that simple. And even like, I'm sure you noticed on my page, when I started locking in and like doing news articles and things like that on the page, I started realizing like these are things I would have brushed past prior. But you start realizing the wording. Because even if I'm deciding a headline, I go like, oh, well, no, these people aren't rioting for Palestine. They're protesting for Palestine.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But then you check your sources and then you're like, okay, well, the Daily Mail might say.
There you go. Because they have a hidden agenda.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's
I'm
frustrating.
Like,
it really is.
It's,
It really is. And it's something that we are pinpointing a lot more in the UK and we're speaking up about a lot more, which is great. And we have to. But again, that's why a lot of people will go and find their news from independent sources that might be online, that might not always be accurate.
Yeah,
like I think I saw, was it here in the States or it was in Australia, and they put a clip of what they thought was a protest or something. And it was like a clip from however many years ago in the wrong place. But because they found it on social media, they just assumed it was real. And it's like,
they did all that kind of stuff too, even back when, like when 2020, when all the, COVID stuff happened. Yeah. There were certain places that were, I don't know if it was like the Washington Post or I don't want to say the wrong newspaper, but there was like newspapers that were posting pictures. And it's like, everyone's lined up to get the waits at the hospitals are crazy and blah, blah, blah. But it was like the picture was from like a year and a half ago. Yeah. It was a bunch of people wearing coats. So it really didn't make sense. Right. Like it was like, oh, so you're really trying to just sell
sell the narrative, of course. The scaremongering.
That's also where the money is. Because if no one's watching.
Right.
Shit's going bad. Pay attention. We'll tell you all about it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and here's the fine print at the same time. Yeah.
Literally. Right. So, well, listen, what's next for you? What do you want to accomplish next? What's on the horizon?
What is next for me? I mean, immediately I'm going to see Americans Got Talent today. Oh, nice. Because that starts back with a live show. So I'm looking forward to that. Okay. Dope. And then, I guess I'm here for another like month and a half and just trying to network and connect with people, just be seen, get people to know my name. And hopefully get my chat show at some point in the future, and obviously get my property show as well. It's coming. And just see what happens, but kind of going with life and enjoying it. So,
I feel you. Well, listen, thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you for
I had
having me.
an
I've loved it.
Amazing conversation. And yeah, we'll do it again.
For sure.
All right.
Definitely.
We out. Peace.
Peace.